Talking of pollen bombs, what were some bombshell interviews for you this morning? Because Prince Harry has called for reconciliation with the royal family.
It follows the Court of Appeal's decision, of course, which didn't overturn. He wanted it overturned. They did not overturn the ruling on his security in the UK.
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
Well, he went on to blame the king, claiming it's the establishment's fault if anything happens to him.
There is a lot of control and ability in my father's hands. Ultimately, this whole thing could be resolved through him. Not necessarily by intervening, but by stepping aside, allowing the experts to do what is necessary. I have had it described to me, once people knew about the facts, that this is an good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up.
Well, in response to Prince Harry's allegations in that interview, Buckingham Palace released a statement saying all of these issues have been examined repeatedly and meticulously by the courts, with the same conclusion reached on each occasion.
Let's talk to royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams. Good to see you this morning, Richard. He says he wants reconciliation, but by giving this interview, does he just make that harder to achieve?
Well, it is the most extraordinary interview, and over half an hour, and a lot of it dealing with aspects of security, which, of course, he couldn't elaborate on. In court, his arguments were considered powerful and moving, but not legally valid. Now, there are several things you could take from this. I mean, it could be seen as a plea for some form of reconciliation, because he actually discusses his father in far from complimentary terms in parts of it, but equally there's no doubt that he fears that, obviously, he knows how the king is battling cancer, and talks about the fact he doesn't know how long his father has, which is an extraordinary thing to say, but I think he was absolutely gutted. I mean, what he calls for, I've always felt that the issue of security is something that there could be some form of compromise on this, because he's haunted by the death of his mother. There's no doubt that that still plays such a part in the way he thinks. And there's also no question that this is very much from the heart. On the other hand, I mean, you could look at the fact he says he knows the truth. He couldn't elaborate on a lot of it. But then on the other hand, you've got the Sussex's truth. Remember that on Oprah, because he unquestionably believes that there are malign forces at the palace or in the establishment who are working against him. On the other hand, again, he calls for government intervention. And where would this go? Would he perhaps take it to the Supreme Court, or decide to do so, as apparently may be a possibility? So there's so much in this. I would only say that in some way, there ought to be some form of reconciliation in the years ahead, and I simply can't see it if there isn't some form of concession on this, given the raw he's somewhat enraged during this interview, and of course it's a 5-year battle for him.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're traveling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, You just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saily using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
I thought there were also several moments during the interview when he looked as though he was going to break down. Actually maybe tears or something. He held it back just enough, but it just made me worry about him. Are you worried about him or for him?
Yes, because I think he feels tremendously pressurized, and there's no doubt that on the issue of security, he's correct that he will never be anybody. He always will be a prince, and there are threats. You could mention Al-Qaeda or indeed right-wing extremism or the paparazzi. So there are dangers here. But on the other hand, I mean, there does seem to be a wall between him and, well, certainly the courtiers who are, as he sees it, the royal household. I mean, there is little love lost. The problem, of course, also is trust. And you can see the royal family, because of the campaign the Sussexes waged against the institution, not trusting him, because he does, and we've seen it only yesterday in this extraordinary interview, it's the relationship the Sussexes have with the media that is very, very scary to an institution that during Queen Elizabeth's era was famous for never complain, never explain. And of course, he does the opposite. Yes, I think it's very worrying.
If he did want to come to the UK, Richard, I mean, he could come here pretty incognito, couldn't he? He could slip in his private jet and do what he needed to do family-wise. Presumably, he only needs a lot of security if he's out doing public engagements, which is what the royal family don't want him to be doing anyway.
Well, there's a problem, I think, in what appears to be a two-tier security that he gets. I think that this may be at the root of a lot of the problems, because you heard him say that if he comes invited by his family or to see his family, he would get the automatic police security, but he rubbished the idea that the security he would get, for example, coming for a charitable purpose, would be of much use. He claimed that it wouldn't be. It therefore is, well, he says that he won't bring Meghan, who mightn't want to come necessarily. I mean, she is far from popular in Britain, but that isn't the point. The point is, of course, Archie and Lily in future years. I mean, surely there should be some way whereby they could come and he would feel that they had the adequate security. He says private security is not the same as automatic police security. And the VIP aspect of it is where I would have thought he was a VIP and his family. But again, the powerful argument isn't one that holds or has held legally. He's fought for 5 years. The government asked to do something. Would we see any movement there? It's hard to see. I mean, it's quite extraordinary, the fifth in line to the throne actually having a case and fighting it all these years against the Home Office. And also, of course, he believes very, very strongly that there are people who don't want to give him what he believes is his right. So at the moment, we're in an impasse.
OK, Richard, good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and of course, that very topic brings us to our poll of the day, in which I'm sure you want to have a vote. The question is, should the Prime Minister step in now to get security for Harry and his family? Well, so far, 3% of you think the Prime Minister should step in. 97% think, no, he should not. We'll bring you the results throughout the day. You know that. So make sure you stay tuned for all our latest polls, news and how to vote. Just go to gbnews.com/poll.